Yeah, I don't want to leave.
One, two cameras for our riveting discussion on my little jaunt over the pond.
Scotland.
Last time I was there was 2012, I think. It was the year before Liam was born.
It's a long time.
So yeah, been about
It's
12
a really
years.
long time.
Yeah, the majority of the reason why I went, obviously, well, for business purposes, was for the trade show.
You did this as a family vacation as well as a trip to the show.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Yeah. What was it like preparing Liam for the idea of traveling internationally?
I didn't have to prepare him at all. He was all in. It's great. I get to see Scotland. This is gonna be awesome.
I mean, it's not like everything is different here, just most things. Money, sides of the road, and food.
Don't fly out during a snowstorm. Our flight was delayed by a couple hours. They made up a good amount of time on the way over, but our connecting flight from Heathrow to Glasgow was missed. We missed our connecting flight. We got off the plane and there was literally people standing there with, hey, you missed your connecting flight. Here's your new tickets. Here's your new voucher. Here's your new plane. We're going to transfer your baggage. Not a problem. Also, here's some money for food while you're here. That was pretty freaking awesome. Top marks for London Airport. It was absolutely wonderful. If they would have transferred the bags. The luggage didn't quite make the plane from London to Glasgow. So we're sitting in the airport. Hopefully it's on the next flight. We'll be here for another hour or two as we patiently await for all of our clothing and everything else that's important to us. So how do you feel about having your luggage lost?
Not great, but unlike my mom, she did not have to give up her carry-on, so at least I could survive, but we're getting them back anyway.
When we got to Glasgow, the bags were not transferred. They lost all four, and 3 of those 4 arrived on the next flight. Her carry-on, which had all of her expensive clothes, all of her toiletries, all of her makeup, all that, her curling iron, all that stuff, that got sent to France. Well, they're gonna get curling iron for Kelly because someone lost our luggage. I won't say who, British Air. They delivered it to the hotel the next day, but she was understandably freaked out about it.
Now, you drove?
Yeah, rental car with a manual, the stick shift rental car.
Right.
So I had a little discussion with Simon, the House of Edgar, about manual cars versus automatics.
Most people will drive a manual.
I know, it's
or a stick shift, I guess you call it.
Manual stick shift, yeah.
The other thing we have is we have very small parking spaces compared to what you have.
Yes.
So you've got to be very careful. If you're on the wrong side of the car and you're getting into this really narrow parking space in a supermarket or something like this, yeah, that's when it's dangerous.
I will neither confirm nor deny that I have taken advantage of the insurance for Avis rental car.
Yeah, that's a good.
And I may or may not have pulled into a tight parking space and hit a thing in front of me, but it doesn't matter because I have the insurance. So.
Is it true about the sheep?
What about the sheep?
Like you have to stop driving because there's a herd of sheep crossing the road?
You know, we were taking like a road parallel to the highway and there was sheep. So we just kind of stopped in the road, put our hazards on, no traffic, no one was there. They were crafty little buggers. They jumped out of the fence.
What were your goals for going back to the trade show after all this time?
Yeah.
Over here in Glasgow, and there is a huge number of Scottish suppliers, including our friends from Loch Ness.
I'm not typically a huge buyer at trade shows. I like to go down there and collect all the data. So look for new suppliers, look for new catalogs, look for new products. I got to see the Glen Affric tartan before, it was released to the world.
We were very happy to be asked to recreate it by the Scottish Talents Authority and bring it to the market to kind of keep tartan right at the forefront of everybody's minds. It's great.
Yeah.
It's fun to go and just geek out with people in the industry who geek out with the same stuff that I geek out on.
This is my friend Colin from Ingalls Buchan. Nick from House of Edgar. Hey Keith, want to be in a video?
Hi folks,
Hi.
this is hard work. I am
These-
wearing my tweed trousers, they are a bit itchy. But I'll soldier on, don't worry.
His legs and butt's are going to be rubbed raw after this.
I have got cream for that. Okay.
The main thing is making sure that the products that we're bringing in or that we want to bring in are of the quality that we want to carry in the store. So the trade shows give you a place to physically go, put things on, try it, look at the seams on the inside, look at the tags, feel the material. The coolest thing was seeing some of the people that have started at companies. Getting to reconnect with Simon over at House of Edgar, getting to see Bill Whelan.
Known Rocky for a long time,
Yep.
hasn't changed a bit.
It was cool to be able to actually, shake the person's hand, look them in the eye.
How long has Ingalls been a business? How long has it been around?
This has been 55 years.
55 years.
55 years? Yep.
And you guys have your own mill now? You do
Got
all
on
your
in
own-
Selkirk. We roll stuff in Selkirk, bring it up to Glasgow, manufacture in Glasgow, distribute worldwide.
Very nice, very nice.
So the show itself was pretty much encapsulated for us to the Sunday. I promised Kelly that we're not going to do all business all the time on this trip. Slight gale force winds at over 100 miles an hour here in Glasgow today. We have a
Storm
Isha. Yep, we got Storm Isha going on. And look at those flags flapping sideways and upside down. We have a crazy rip current in the river here. I'm watching the river go one direction, which is that way, and then the debris is heading this way up the side of the river.
There's a lot of flags.
It is crazy, crazy, crazy storm out here today.
All right, we are leaving Glasgow. We are on our way to Stirling. Liam and Kelly behind me. Got my going to get the car, pack everything up, and get on the road. Well, we're at Stirling Castle, and because of Isha, it's closed, and it's starting to rain right now. We got there, and we're like, yes, we're gonna get to go in. And the gates were closed, and talked to a real nice lady right outside there. Basically said, yeah, the storm screwed up a lot of things,
wow.
trees down. And Stirling Castle's on like the high point in Stirling. We were staying like at a little apartment, essentially, right behind Stirling Castle. So we said, okay, fine. We're supposed to leave and do stuff tomorrow first thing, but let's, get up early, get to Stirling Castle right when it opens, and run around in there. That way we can still get out at a reasonable time and get up to Inverness before the sun goes down.
This is a pain. My mom wants to get all the way up there, but she says we're running out. So what are we gonna do? I don't know, teleport.
Stirling Castle, take 2. It is still raining, but the gale force winds have died down. It's 9 a.m. Are you excited to see Stirling Castle?
Yes.
The impressive thing with specifically Stirling Castle and a lot of the castles and historical stuff in Scotland in general is the ability to interact with the things. You're allowed to just run your hands. It's not encouraged, but you can touch the wall of the castle.
Wow.
For Stirling, there's a little guards walkway around the entire wall, outer wall of the castle, and you can just walk down it and video, do whatever you want, take pictures.
This is Stirling and Bannockburn. So right down there, over in that area, that's where the site of the Battle of Saltburn was. And the Battle of Bannockburn is over there. This is where Scotland won their freedom.
Looking down, thinking to myself, what an imposing thing it must have been to be an invading army, trying to siege, get into the castle.
And again, it's a pretty steep drop off. I wouldn't want to fall off down there or try to attack this position. This is pretty freaking crazy.
It might be very rainy and all that, but the view is worth it. I love Scotland.
That's King Henry VIII. See the lion on us? The lion is the symbol of England, right?
Like the unicorn is to Scotland. I wish I could get a picture of every single one. But that would take so long, it would hurt my neck.
Kelly's thinking about like Stirling Castle was like the seat of the Stuarts.
Right.
So she's thinking from family connections and trying to impart a bit of that on Liam as we're going through. Look at the stained glass windows. Like, hey, look at all these different badges and these, for all the coats of arms.
Uh-huh.
These were different Stuarts.
On top.
It's versus the three stewards. There, here, and there.
I love going off season 100%. I will always suggest that.
Okay.
Because if you want to learn things
Mhm.
from the people that are there and have them explain things to you,
Mhm.
you get to actually interact with them a lot more.
This is the Queen's throne room where you come to ask for favours, bring news, or, because you're in Scotland, you could just be here to complain. That's loud. Don't do this in England. It would not go well.
To be able to connect with the people who are knowledgeable, who are there, and ask the questions that it's difficult to find answers to,
Mhm.
other than through experts like this who do this stuff for a living.
So at the Scotch Ry in downtown Inverness. It's a pretty cool hipstery kind of bar. It's got a lot of really cool specialty drinks, a few different scotches obviously, and some pretty fun food combinations. They have one called the Hilly cheesesteak, not Philly, the Hilly cheesesteak.
It's not a cheesesteak. It's a pulled beef brisket sandwich, and it's one of the best things I ever ate. It was wonderful. Wonderful. Definitely highly recommend.
Score 1 out of 10.
10.
Cheers. This is good. It's good. 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. Pretty good.
What did you guys decide to opt for in terms of lodgings?
Kelly tried to get places that have like apartment-y kind of things. We could do hotels if you want to do hotels. We did that in Glasgow.
It is a tiny, tiny little room, but we are right on the River Clyde. That is the River Clyde right outside our door. That's the old bridge.
We actually rented apartments because we were trying to bring a little bit of luggage and be able to do some laundry while we were there.
Yeah, this is sick.
So let's see if we can figure out how to turn on the heat.
Yeah, that's the question that I think we might need to solve. Yep.
Don't be so herky-jerky. You're gonna feel sick.
Sorry, I'm excited.
What about food?
When you're booking the hotel, find hotels with continental breakfast.
Sure.
Because
Sure.
the food tends to be a little bit more expensive than it is here. It depends on the dollar-pound ratio of it as well. The one thing you absolutely must do while in Scotland is have haggis. Period. The haggis there is different. In the same way that you can say, the Guinness in Ireland tastes different. If you ever met anyone who's traveled to Ireland,
Absolutely.
nope, the Guinness tastes different in Ireland. It's better, it's better, it's better. Is it worlds different? No, it's still a stout. It's still got a creamy taste to it.
Yeah.
But it does taste a little different. It all comes down to the water. In the U.S., we have haggis, but it's not the exact same due to U.S. law, not being able to have heart and lung and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
in
organ meats.
Meats in the food, exactly. I've had haggis here and it's been good. Like the stuff that we've gotten for the show and stuff before. And it's fine. But over there, they make an art of it. It's not just haggis for haggis' sake.
Okay.
It's not just on burn suppers with neeps and tatties. It is it's a de facto breakfast meat, as well as an hors d'oeuvre, as fried haggis balls. It's a different way of experimenting with their national dish. Like the deep fried haggis balls, Liam loved those.
Okay.
Like I actually got Liam to try haggis, which is amazing.
Are you gonna have some haggis?
Yep.
Oh. And what do you think? He likes it. Mikey likes it.
Yeah, because it's freaking fried.
Right,
Of course
right,
you're gonna
right.
like it. And then the next night I had haggis for burn supper, and
Oh, okay.
he did have some of it, and he was like, "It looks different."
How is it?
It tastes different than the other restaurant. I still like it, but it did have bit spicier than I was expecting.
He's gonna eat all my haggis, I know it.
If there's one takeaway, it's while you're in Scotland, you have to try the local cuisine, the local dishes, the local specialties, because and that's really true of anywhere you go.
Absolutely.
But if you're going to Oban, it's just a a fishing town, you definitely have to have fish. Even if you don't like fish, you got to force yourself to have some fish. It's a fancy restaurant. If they have haggis, try haggis at least once or twice.
It's delicious.
So yeah, we are now officially on the Culloden Battlefield. I wish I could switch camera angles. Oh, I have no idea how. It's starting to rain. The wind is very strong.
Yeah, we went through the museum or the visitor center there first to kind of get a sense of the layout of the thing and see all the different artifacts that they found there. Saw old sporrans and targes and swords. Culloden itself is basically just a huge field, so it is extremely windy, and there's paths through the field, and they have flags kind of planted. There's one big memorial cairn, for lack of a better term, like stone cairn meaning stone structure.
Yeah.
There's that, and then there's little monuments like stone things on the ground.
I see.
As markers.
Okay.
For essentially close enough to where the individual clans were kind of laid out. The most disappointing thing about Culloden was me recording myself walking around and the emotional things that I was thinking and feeling while I'm walking around this kind of haunting, sacred place, for lack of a better term, and the wind destroying any usable audio from me walking around. I had like all these great thoughts, and I'm taking a tour and just.
If you can imagine this, some way of life was around the area, and there's not much wind up in this area. So the vast majority of the video that we shot at Culloden Battlefield, I realized that the mic had a bit of a problem with the wind noise. So this is the end to our Culloden Battlefield video.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool and eerie place. A weird feeling that's put in your brain, having gone through the visitor center. If you just stumbled across it and were like, oh, okay, what's this? Oh, it's just a big open field, and walked around, you wouldn't necessarily be in that frame of mind.
When I think of a battlefield, I always think of like Gettysburg. And it's been so manicured over the decades, and it's so full of statuary and built up ramps and tourist things.
Also, Gettysburg, right, I remember, was over 3 or 4 days versus Culloden was 1 day. And Gettysburg was over a much wider landscape than Culloden was. So it's a much wider area to have to cover. So you can take a car tour through Gettysburg.
Yes.
And go behind the different lines and see a lot of different things. Where Culloden, it's 15 acres.
It's hard at a place like Gettysburg to get a sense of what really happened there versus this, where you're just there in the environment.
We're now here at the Clava Cairns. You may recognize these standing stones from Outlander and shows like that. There's Liam.
It is 4,000 years old. Several large croppings of stone. They did like Outlander stuff there. There's a bunch of standing stones. 3 huge stone circles of like mounds of stone with a single path. 2 of the 3 have a single pathway and then a carved out section in the middle. It's neat being able to be there and touch a stone that is 4,000 years old and stood there for 4,000 years. These are all the kind of things that go through my head as I'm stood here just thinking about who the people who made this and why they made it and what was their life like. It's neat to watch how current day Scotland treats and respects their own history. There's a bit more traffic there now.
Okay.
I know there's been some stones taken. Somebody put literally put flowers and a little Fraser thing by the one standing stone, like an homage to Jamie Fraser, like they're gonna travel back in time. It's cool, and I'm happy for the tourist industry in Scotland, what Outlander has done for it. I'm also disappointed in the tourists for what they have done to the tourist sites.
Yep.
It's difficult because you want people to go there, you want them to have a meaningful experience,
Right.
but you don't want to wreck it for the other people who are going to go there,
Yep.
or people 1,000 years from now who are going to want to see the Cloud of Cairns.
Regardless, this place is pretty sweet. I love Scotland. This place is amazing. That's all I really got to say.
We were doing a little bit of vlogging back and forth, and I'm talking to Kelly about it, and he said, I'm going to go off and do some silent seconds, which is like first grade teacher taught them silent seconds, which is, essentially just meditation.
Got it.
So he actually said, like, I'm going to go over there and meditate for a little bit. So
Wow.
he just kind of sat and just enjoyed his surroundings, try to be,
Wow.
present. We'll probably stick with him in a different way than the castles and the hustle and bustle and, walking down the street in Edinburgh and going to the pubs and that kind of stuff.
Are you excited to go to the Loch Ness tour?
I am very excited to go on the Loch Ness tour.
So, did you take Liam to hunt for Nessie?
Yes, we did go on Loch Ness. They have
Okay.
they have boat tours there, a bunch of different boat tour companies. A lot of places either just tour Loch Ness or the tour Loch Ness drop you off at Urquhart Castle.
You actually just literally took my breath away.
And then you get back in about an hour, you jump back on the boat and they take you back. There's a 20,000 pound reward for video or pictorial evidence of Nessie existing. So he was hunting for Nessie in that way. That was fun.
Now, just preparing to go out and try to find the Loch Ness Monster. The elusive Loch Ness Monster. If we do find it, try to see how many pictures we can take. If so, we'll try to post them all on the website. So there's a big cash reward for the Loch Ness Monster, by the way. I'm gonna try, but even though we kind of all instinctively know that it's big.
When you actually look at the water along the shoreline, it's really like tea colored. And the reason it's tea colored is because of all the peat in the mountains. So the rainwater washes through the peat and pulls that color into Loch Ness. On our last day, we traveled down the left side or the western side of Loch Ness and came down through Fort William and went to Appin, which is where Castle Stalker is. Kelly and I had been there years ago and didn't actually figure out how to get down to the beach right across from Castle Stalker. Liam, are you ready to go see Castle Stalker?
Yes, and my mom is crying because she's walking in the footsteps of her ancestors. I told her that, and now she's crying.
It's a neat castle that was built in 1440, I think it was. And it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. You have to know that it's there. It's, Appin is not much of a an area for tourists or anything like that. You're going there for this thing. For those who like Monty Python, it's Castle Arg at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It's cool to be able to, show Liam, well, this is your family was Stewart of Avon. This is where your family came from.
Can't believe it. It's such a weird feeling that somebody we're related to maybe 5 generations ago was right here. That's an odd feeling, but I love it.
There's a little pub that backs up to the beach essentially. When the pub opened up at 4 o'clock, we went in there and, they weren't serving dinner at the time or food or anything, but we were able to, get a drink before we took off for the evening down to Oban. It's this tiny little pub that's been there for a couple 100 years. Little wood stove. They have a picture of Bonnie Prince Charlie hanging on the wall.
Classic.
And it's neat to see how the history is preserved and those sensibilities, shall we say, those feelings are preserved in certain areas.
Wow.
In the Highlands still.
It was the perfect way to wrap up our trip.
And this is what I imagine Scotland would be like. And on top of this, looking back on the week I've had, I tried haggis, we went to Loch Ness, we've seen Cassie Stalker now.
Pulled off for a wee wander about in the woods. It's just beautiful. Trees are covered with moss. There's a mild mist in the air.
On the way back from Inverness down to Oban and down to Appin, and there was a spot to pull over. Picnic tables, some charcoal, like barbecue pit things, and that kind of stuff, and then a trail up the side of the mountain into the Scots Pine. So Kelly didn't want to get out in the car and hike, but Liam really wanted to hike in Scotland because we hike here in the US on occasion. So we had a fun time just kind of off the side of the highway, walking up this trail, hearing minimal noise, just soft rain falling in a tree, the babbling brook of the water coming off the mountain feeding the Loch Ness, seeing these Scots pines towering above you, 100-foot trees. That's the thing that'll stick with me, and I hope sticks with Liam as well.
Look at all of it. Oh, why is there a hose? Is the river fake?
No, the river's not fake.
They just loaded it up with water.
Raining a lot the whole time we were there, so there's a rush of water coming off the mountain. What I'm assuming was sometimes a creek is quasi-river-like, rushing down the side of the mountain. And Liam wanted to capture this, so I just see him kind of like, oh, I'm gonna go over here, and walking over to like this sheer edge where like the water is coming down like 15 feet below, and I'm like, in the tree and holding his jacket while he's like kind of looking over the edge, getting video.
But oh my god, like the moss, look at all of it. It's like as soft as a carpet. And slippery. Ow, okay, I'm good.
Now this is a great place to just sit and exist. Literally, just sit and think and do nothing.
It's like the perfect meditation area.
And we have woods in Pennsylvania, but nothing like this. Beautiful.
But once you're there and once you're in it, it feeds your soul. Is that fair to say? I mean, it's definitely worth going.
Oh, yes.
Are you excited to go swimming in Loch Ness?
No.
You're not gonna go swimming?
No.
Here we come. We're gonna get some haggis. We're walking down the mean streets of Inverness.
Can barely call them mean.
Yeah, I really don't think they're that mean.
I think personally, if you want a nice place to come, Scotland is a good thing. And also if you want to explore your heritage.
You will get out of it what you want to put into it.
Okay.
So if you are there to visit the sites of your ancestors, then do that and be all in on everything you do. If you're there to see Edinburgh Castle and you want to see cities and you want to experience current day Scotland, great, go to the cities, experience current day Scotland.
It's just good Scottish weather, huh?
If you want to do the historical stuff, you can do that as well. If you want to do the off the beaten path stuff, you can do that as well. If you want to go to fancy restaurants, you can almost have like 4 or 5 different mini experiences within one vacation.
I'm gonna get this boy to love haggis yet.
Never.
When we went to a fancy restaurant, like let's go to like the coolest, best, fanciest restaurant in Oban. Great, let's do that. Now, let's go to a chippy. Now, let's go to do the trade show, which is a business thing, but that was something very different that Liam never did before. Now, let's go to a castle. Now, let's go downtown shopping district in Inverness and look at the other kilt companies and the other hire companies and see how they do things. So you just curate different experiences to well-round your experience within a different culture.
Until next time, Scotland. Slán